6 months is enough time for you to become unrecognizable. It is enough time for you to achieve changes in your physique beyond what you even think is possible right now. I've made intense physical transformations within the 5 to 6 month time range through gaining weight and through losing weight. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys the breakdown of exactly what I think you should do to achieve this crazy transformation where people look at you and say, what happened? Whether this is through losing weight, gaining weight, packing on muscle, the whole picture. The goal is to achieve a more aesthetic body and to take your physique to the next level. Now, the first thing that we need to acknowledge for this transformation is for you to be at your peak aesthetic 6 months down the line, we need two things. We need to pack on a certain amount of muscle mass so we actually have a decently filled out frame. And then we need to cut down our body fat percentage to reveal the definition of that muscle mass, reveal our abs, reveal the tone within your muscles so that you actually have an aesthetically pleasing physique. Now, the fastest way that bodybuilders, people that do this professionally for a living, achieve an intense physical transformation within 5 to 6 months is by going through either a bulk or a cut, a season of time in which they have a goal of either putting on body mass or losing overall body mass. And a common theme amongst all these bodybuilders is that the fastest way to put on lean muscle mass is to go through a bulk. You're in a season of gaining weight where you're eating in a surplus, right? You're eating more calories than your body burns on a daily basis. So your body weight scale goes up, you're gaining overall mass. A lot of it is actually fat, but in the process, you're able to build a ton of muscle mass. And that's just the typical cycle of it. They go through the bulking stage, they pack on a ton of lean muscle, and then they cut down and reveal everything that they've built. This concept applies to literally everybody. Whether you've been training for 10 years and you're a pro at this stuff, or you're just getting started without having much muscle on your frame at all, this is true. You would be better off putting on more muscle by eating in a surplus, by going through a bulk, by eating in a calorie surplus. Even if you're fat, you would still put on more muscle if you just ate more food. Now, if that was the goal of this video, if that's what we were talking about, this video was called how to put on the most amount of muscle mass in the shortest amount of time, it would be a bulk. We would just be eating a shit ton of food. And this just makes complete sense when you think about it from a primal perspective. Just to give you guys some background, why would we just eat a ton of food in order to put on muscle mass? Food is energy, right? Muscle burns a lot of energy. Packing on muscle has a super high thermic effect. So the more jacked you get, the more lean muscle you have on your frame, the more calories it takes for you to just be alive. Just you moving around, me sitting at this desk, moving my hands, I'm burning more calories if I have more muscle mass on my frame. So when we fuel our body with a ton of energy, we're just giving it food and food and more food. It's sitting here thinking, holy crap, I am getting so much energy right now. Why not put on a little more mass, right? So much food, so much protein, so much supplies, and we're training. We're in the gym progressively overloading. We're trying to get stronger. We're training every single day. I might as well. I have so much energy. I might as well put on more muscle. Now, why is this not as effective in a cut? So it's the exact opposite for cutting or losing weight. And this is why so many bodybuilders don't make any progress. They don't build any muscle when they're losing weight. Your body, when it realizes that's like, hey, I'm getting less energy than it takes for me to be alive. So the demand is still super high. I'm still in the gym every single day lifting weights. I'm still doing a ton of cardio. But all of a sudden, my energy, the amount of food that I'm receiving is just a little bit lower than it takes for me to be alive. So this is how much we're expending every single day. We're eating right here. That's when it realizes, hold on. We can't be using these resources to put on more muscle mass because all that's going to do is lift this bar even higher. We're going to burn more calories without having the food to actually fuel it. So it's a bit of a different process, right? You're resorting to fat for energy. It's a whole different streamline to where your body is kind of in a, imagine like a low power mode on your phone. You're at like 20%, whatever. It's like, turn on low power mode and the thing pops up and you click low power mode. That's what your body does in a cut. So it doesn't want to be building muscle when you're in an intense deficit. But you, my friend, are a little bit different. This is exactly the secret that I discovered that allowed me to make these immense transformations in 6 months' time, because I was getting fed all of this bullshit. I was like, okay, so I'm not building any muscle if I'm cutting. So no muscles being built. Like, yeah, of course I still have to train. I still have to go to the gym, but I'm not going to make any gains. And then if I want to pack on muscle, I can only do one at a time. So I'm going to have to go in a bulk and I'm going to have to get fat and eat a ton of food. And that's the only way I'm going to build muscle. That might apply for somebody that's been training for 5+ years. I'm barely getting to that point. I'm barely getting to that point where it's like one or the other. But in your case, especially in your case, you have so much hidden potential. You might be scratching your head right now, looking down at your big belly and your scrawny arms thinking, where is this hidden potential? I would love to see this hidden potential. I obviously don't have any. That is the exact advantage that you have over all these bodybuilders, over all these highly trained individuals, over even me. 4 years into working out, I still had newbie gains. You guys familiar with newbie gains? Newbie gains is basically when you start the gym, your body's not used to working out. Your body's never consumed that much protein. You've never treated it so nicely. It is so grateful for all the training that you're doing. You just have a lot of potential. You just put on the most amount of muscle you'll ever put on in your fitness journey ever, period, within like the first 1 or 2 years of lifting. So that's newbie gains. 4 years into working out, I still had newbie gains in store. Why did I have newbie gains 4 years into working out? I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. That's what it comes down to. I still wasn't maximizing my training. I wasn't maximizing my diet. All these factors were at like 50%. 50% of the work I could genuinely be putting in. 50% of the regime that I could be going through every single day. And you know for a fact that this is exactly what you've been doing. You've been at like 50%. It's like, oh, sure, you still have your protein shakes. Oh, you're saying, but Simon, I still have my protein bar. Congrats, dude. You still don't track your calories. You still don't hit your protein goal every single day. Like, sure, okay, but Simon, I go to the gym. You go to the gym. You barely, you train like a pussy. You don't know what you're doing in there. You might think that you do, but trust me, if you took the research and the science behind training and actually trained till failure with intensity and kept progressively overloading, dude, the progress you would make even at this stage is insane. That's exactly what I was stuck doing. I was stuck at 50%. I was going to the gym 5-6 days a week. I thought I was eating protein. I was having my shakes every single day. Still, I was genuinely still at 50%. You might not believe me. Trust me. Once you achieve the result, you'll be like, holy shit, yeah, Simon was right. I was at 50%. And the beautiful thing about this is that we as humans know the best training techniques out there, the best programs to be on, the best calories to be eating, the best nutrition to have in order to achieve the best physique. Like, it's not just a guessing game anymore. If you actually educate yourself and set yourself up for success from the start, the journey's easier and funner and actually so hype going through it and achieving these results because you're actually achieving results for once. You're not just going through the motions, you're intact with what you're doing and you're progressing your gains to that next level. So the approach that you and I are going to take to get in the shape of our dreams 6 months down the line is that more of a body recomposition approach. But the first question we really have to ask ourselves is how much fat do we have to lose? Be honest. I know you're not 10% body fat. Be honest with yourself. You might be like, well, Simon, I'm not that fat. Okay, look down. You do not have a shredded six-pack. I don't have a shredded six-pack right now. I don't. I'm going to be honest, right? So how much fat do we really have to lose? And what a body recomposition really means is it's like a mini version of a bulk or a cut. It's like instead of losing 50 pounds in the next 6 months, we might lose 15. We might lose 20. Instead of gaining 50, 60 pounds in the next half a year, we might go up 10 pounds. It's a lot smaller scale. And I'm not discrediting you. Maybe you do need to make immense amount of progress. Maybe you're like, yeah, I do need to lose 50 pounds. Cool. We're going to get into that in a second. But for the majority of us, it's going to be more of a body recomposition because we have so much time ahead of us. So the first step that you need to take is you need to start tracking your protein. And I don't care what bullshit excuses you have. You need to make this work because no matter what training program we're on, no matter what training cycle we're going through, if you can't just get your protein in, you're not going to build any muscle. We might be, right, we're in a deficit already. We're already at risk that we're not going to put on as much muscle as possible. If you don't hit your protein, you're not putting on any muscle, bro. We need to track our protein goal. That's the first step to take. Now, that doesn't mean scan barcodes every single day. That just means put together a system of meals. Put together a system of meals that you're going to be eating every single day. For breakfast, I have 100 grams of protein, right? That's what I do right now. 5 eggs, 100 gram egg whites, 150 grams of 93 7-gram beef. So that adds up to be around 100 grams of protein. Systems in place. My next meal, shake, 70 grams of protein. My next meal, protein oats, 50 grams of protein. This all stacks up to me hitting 300 grams of protein every single day right now. So if I can do it without tracking my calories and I know exactly my systems, what meal I'm going to have every single time to amount up to my protein goal, and I can hit 300 grams, I bet you your ass you can hit your body weight in protein, so get it done. Track it every single day and put together that routine, that flow of meals just to hit your protein goal. Forget about the calories for now, just protein. The next thing we need to talk about is training. How are we going to train and how often? I recommend 5 to 6 days a week. You clicked on this video, you want to be achieving the best transformation within 6 months' time. I'm not going to put you on some pussy 3-day-a-week training split, okay? I recommend 6 days a week. If you can show up for an hour a day, 6 days a week, that is going to maximize your muscle building. That is going to be maximizing your calories burned. That's going to make the journey easier for you. You're going to achieve better results in the end, just if you can make an hour for the gym every single day. Now, for the 6-day-a-week program, I recommend 2 splits, either push-pull legs, push-pull legs, push-pull legs, rest, repeat. Or a split called Arnold split from Arnold himself, right? It's similar to push-pull legs, but it's chest and back together, shoulders and arms, legs, repeat, then rest, right? So look it up, do your own research. You can find amazing programs that bias different parts of your body, that train each muscle group multiple times per week. Now, for those of you that are going to be pussies and that are like, oh, well, I'm so busy. Okay, maybe you do work like, I don't know, 70-hour weeks and you can't make it to the gym every single day. That's when I would put you on a 3-day-a-week or a 4-day-a-week program. For 3 days a week, full body. Full body, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 days a week, done and over with. I'm not going to get into details because I believe in 6 days a week. I believe in 3 days. It works. It's just not, you're not maximizing. And that's what we're talking about doing here, maximizing. And then 4 days a week, if you can do 4, upper, lower split. Upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, rest, rest. Just get it done. Just get it done. 6 days a week is what we're going to work with. Now, you need to track your workouts. You need to track how much weight you're doing with compound movements. So you need to pick certain movements within your routine. So say for chest, it's going to be bench press or like a dumbbell bench press, right? You need to track, okay, I did 70 pounds for 8 reps this week. Next week, I'm going to try to get 9. The following, I'm going to try to get 10. Then I might up the weight. I'm going to go to 75s. Do that for 6 reps. Okay, then I did it for 7, then for 8. And you're tracking these things and you're consciously, progressively overloading, training with intensity to failure with these sets. Now, just a little side note for those of us that are going to be losing weight. If you're losing weight, I think it's super smart to be training in a higher rep range. So instead of doing like 6 to 8 reps on flat dumbbell bench, I would be doing 12 to 15 reps. Why? 2 reasons. When you're cutting your joints, your body, everything just feels fragile. If you're doing 6 to 8, you're doing super heavy weight. By the time you get it up there, you feel like a fragile little stick when you get to a low enough body fat percentage. Your joints don't have as healthy of surrounding tissue around it to like make you feel comfortable, right? So you're gonna feel like you're just ripping your shoulder out of socket. It's just not the way to go. You're just not gonna get as good a stimulus. The second thing, that's really good on a bulk, by the way, heavier training, lighter training on a cut. The second thing is that you burn more calories. Higher rep training is going to burn more calories. So if I did the same workout, say leg day, same workout, but I doubled all my volume. So instead of doing 3 reps on squat, I was doing 6. Or instead of 6, I was doing 12. And then on leg extensions, instead of doing 8 reps, I was doing 16. I'm going to burn almost twice as many calories throughout that workout, believe it or not. So higher rep training is just, it aligns a little bit better with a cut. The next thing you're going to want to do, I don't care if you're trying to gain a little weight or lose a little weight, is you're going to be walking 10 to 12,000 steps a day. This ensures that you're active. Think about it. Just think about it from a logical perspective for a second. Do you really think a dude that sits around on his ass every single day behind a desk is going to be in the best shape of his life? No. You need to be walking. This promotes an active lifestyle. I don't care if you want to go play basketball. I don't care if it's pickleball. I don't care if you just prefer the treadmill, but you're forced to get up and at 'em and actually put the effort to get a significant amount of steps in every single day. Super important and amazing for fat loss, especially if we're taking this body recomposition approach. You're literally going to be melting fat off your body when paired with the right diet. The next thing that I want to bounce back to, if you're still watching this video, I know you're serious about this, is the body recomposition approach. So we're not going to be doing anything too crazy. We're not going to be gaining too much weight. We're not going to be losing too much weight. We just want to be a little bit below or a little bit above our maintenance calories. So you find your maintenance. How many calories does it take for you to be alive every single day? Going through your training routine, doing your cardio, like take that into account. How many calories are you burning every single day? Then we want to be just a little bit below, 200 to 300 calories below, or 200 to 300 calories above, depending on what your goals are. For the majority of us, it's losing weight, right? We're going to get shredded for summer. The ideal physique is at a low body fat percentage, so we're not trying to get fat here. So let's say we're losing weight. That is going to be a slow, steady pace at which you are burning body fat while building muscle. We're not shocking our body too much. We're not saying, holy crap, like, we don't have any energy. How are we ever going to build muscle? No. We're super at peace. We're slowly, barely losing weight. We still have a lot of food to work with, so we're hitting our protein goal very easily, packing on muscle in the process, going through our training routines, and it's just super efficient and ideal to keep making that progress and maximizing our gains as we go towards that 6-month mark. Now, I just want to give you guys a quick example so you understand how fat you are, so you kind of understand what you need to do with your calories. This was me at 220 pounds, and this was me at 180 pounds. These pictures are 5.5 months apart, so I lost 40 pounds in 5.5 months. Let's just call it 6. Let's just call it 6, okay? So that means I lost 40 divided by 6 divided by 4, so 40 divided by like 24 or whatever. I lost more than 1 pound per week. And losing 1 pound per week leads to a 500 calorie deficit. I just told you to be in a 200 to 300 calorie deficit. So if you're like big chungus over here, like I was, you're gonna need a more significant deficit to see, like, look at the amount of fat I had in my stomach. That's no joke. Like, although like people say like, oh, you were still muscular. Sure, it doesn't fucking matter. Look at the amount of fat on my stomach. That's a whole lot of fat to lose to reveal my six pack. So those 40 pounds to lose in 6 months, at one point I had to be in more of an intense deficit, losing like 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds per week, to then able to achieve six-pack abs 6 months down the line. So it all depends on how fat you are. The majority of you guys watching this aren't like big chungus over here, but do need a slight calorie deficit in order to lean out and achieve the aesthetic body 6 months down the line. I recommend that you start with the protein. Put together those meals, start eating your protein every single day. Then you can start worrying about the calories. A few months in, you're going to start seeing crazy progress within your physique because you're training 6 days a week and you're hitting your protein goal. You're getting way stronger. Then you can start worrying about the calories, start dropping them down by just a little bit, making your meals a little bit leaner, and the body weight scale is going to start inching down. Then from there, as you're already in the routine and you're making your progress there, I want you guys to pay attention to every 2 months, I need you to reevaluate your calories. This is why plateaus happen. This is why people get started with fitness journeys and miserably fail. Because what works at the beginning doesn't just keep working. If you started at 200 pounds and then 3 months down the line, you got to 190, and then you're gonna stop losing weight because the calories, you reached your maintenance calories for your 190 pound body weight. So you need to keep shortening them. So drop another 200 calories. Then your scale's gonna go down just a little bit more. Then do another 200 calories. Then you're gonna go down a little bit more. So you need to progressively lower your calories, do higher intense training, do a little bit more cardio to keep leaning out your physique and make the visual change 6 months down the line. It's the same thing for gaining weight. Not a lot of you guys struggle with that, but if that's the case, keep adding onto your maintenance calories. So you're going to gain a certain amount of weight, plateau, you got to add a little bit more, keep eating more and more and more. That 200 to 300 calorie surplus is going to keep you lean. You're not going to be putting on too much fat throughout your bulk, and that way 6 months down the line, you've put on a ton of mass, a ton of muscle mass, but you still have abs and you still look pretty rock solid. Everything we just talked about is exactly what I plan out with my guys in my one-on-one coaching program. We sit down and we put together the exact roadmap for you. We draw together the steps that you're going to take so that you undeniably achieve that result and achieve that progress 6 months down the line. If that's something you're interested in and you just want undeniable results, you just want a game plan and the kind of peace of mind to say, there's no guessing here, I know exactly what I'm doing. If I just follow these steps, I'm going to achieve my dream physique. If you want that comfort, and you want to work your ass off. Comfort doesn't mean easy. It's not easy. And you want to work your ass off with the right plan in place so that you undeniably reach your goal. Go ahead and book a call with me below. It's going to be one of the first links in the description. We can hop on a call, talk about your goals, see if you're a good fit, and if you are, achieve your dream physique 6 months down the line. Love you guys. I'll see you guys here in the next one. Mwah.